This is Top Gun Maverick, the second entry in the Top Gun series, and a long afterward sequel to that original movie. So be sure to like the video, subscribing is great as well, and if you want to chat about the film, let me know, I'd love to, as it was actually a very interesting experience. So this really has been a long time in the making, and it's finally here, and it's actually spectacular. It's one of the best films I've screened. If you're familiar with me, I actually go to the theaters and screen a pile of movies, or at least I did before the whole COVID situation, and now we're starting to get some of these screenings to come back. One of them that I've been very excited for was Top Gun Maverick, and boy, did that not disappoint. It's definitely something that you really need to watch in a theater to really appreciate the full scale of it. It is a beautiful film that is really centered around Tom Cruise's character. It's been a long time, and, well, Maverick is still up to his old tricks and his old little schemes. That's going to land him in a bit of trouble, though, where he has to go back and kind of set up this weird random mission that is essentially a bit of a suicide mission. He won't be the one in the jet this time. Well, he will be, but it's a little different because his role is going to be that of a teacher. He needs to teach this young, top-of-the-line group of individuals that have come back to the Top Gun school in order to handle this very dangerous mission to remove this depot in this really random foreign land that is never really specified because they don't want to probably cause any issues with any other global countries and blah 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 blah. But anyways, this is a really interesting film because it dives into Tom Cruise's character being kind of an intense badass, but at the same time really having this emotional core to it. You know, there's a lot of flashback moments in terms of not necessarily showing you flashbacks, but showing you glimpses into, like, you know, pictures, and it's very show and not necessarily display, which I quite like. You know, you get to see a lot of photos or Tom Cruise's character looking at these, or mentions between him and an old friend that keeps bailing him out of the situations that he gets stuck in, and him dealing with this new generation, and also something really close to him, that being Rooster, played by Miles Teller, that has a direct connection to, well, basically the loss of a very close friend of Maverick's back in the day. So you don't really need to have watched the first film to appreciate what this has to offer. I think you can go in fresh and have a great time, as it's just fast jets, crazy action, over-the-top intensity, but it's also really well balanced, and it's just got some great scenes to it. It's just a cinematic treat. The visuals, the film, it looks so good. And at the beginning, you get a real influx of nostalgia with some music, but then it really settles into the modern era, and it kind of really teaches you that the game has changed from when Maverick was at the top of his game back in the day. I mean, he's definitely still a pilot that's, you know, insane and crazy, but things have changed, and he needs to prepare this new group of individuals to handle those changes, and to handle this situation where things are a little bit crazy. So with that, I really did love the performances here. The great cast of characters that are present really kind of get on each other's nerves a lot, or there's intensity, but it really hits the mark in something that is exciting to watch, thrilling, and keeps you kind of really focused on the action that's going on. Now with that, if I do have a complaint here or there, it is a little bit long. It could have been tightened a little bit, but other than that, it was really just a thoroughly enjoyable experience. And again, one of the best I've screened. It really was just a lot of fun. There was always action and tension, even when they weren't doing something direct combat wise, it still felt as though there were a lot of stakes at play between these characters. Again, the relationship between Goose and Maverick being very strained throughout, as the two kind of get an understanding of each other. As always, you know, Maverick's got himself a lady that's in the backdrop as well, so you actually get a very well-rounded look at this character as a lot of time has passed, and it's really quite interesting to see that change. Again, you get these glimpses into the past, you can very much understand the issues that are here in the present, but it doesn't shove it in your face, and I think that's really well done. So many of these films really, really lean on something that came prior, and I mean, this one does. You know, what happened in the past is definitely something that is holding steady and causing issues for the characters in the present, but it's not necessarily dragging anything down, and it's very much its own story. But you can see those stakes, you can see those issues, and you can see the long-term problems. I think this actually ties off the events of the first film rather beautifully, and actually pushes things forward And I would love to, if possible, maybe see even more of this franchise going forward, as this really was a lot of fun. They do some ridiculous things towards the end, which are kind of crazy when you think about it afterwards. When you leave the theater, you're like, whoa, there was a lot of stuff that happened in that ending portion. But it's kind of nuts. It's really the journey to get there that's crazy, too. Very, very well done. The jets look cool, they're sleek, the action shots are fantastic, and you get to see like the full scope of an experience. It's not just like, oh, we're going in and battling. This is training, this is stakes, this is a high pressure situation where Tom Cruise, his character Maverick, has to like whip these characters into a status they've never been able to reach, essentially, even though they are the best of the best, to be able to handle a scenario that they don't even think is necessarily possible. The supporting cast is wonderful, the music is great. From, again, a visual standpoint, I really love this one. It's definitely something that feels very intense on the big screen with the loud sounds, the jets, the action, the music, seeing the characters, the film style to it really does look good and makes it feel kind of classic and warm, which is really nice. Seriously, they put together an absolutely fantastic film that really had me just going the whole way through, and I think that's something, you see a lot of okay films, but this really was something that blew away my expectations. It was actually funny going to the screening because, I had heads up on what was going to be happening. But some people thought it was going to be the original Top Gun. Well, actually, no one really thought that. The audience was not at all surprised when Tom Cruise was on the screen. He's actually, you guys are lucky. And I think we were one of the few markets, actually, in North America that got to see the film early, from what I understand. So it was really great that I was able to be invited to go out and actually check this out and get a glimpse into what Top Gun Maverick, or well, essentially Top Gun 2 had to offer. I think this is something that they can actually build from, but at the same time, this is a really nice continuation of that original Top Gun. I think it's going to be great for fans of the original Top Gun, and it's also going to be something cool for newcomers to get into. If you like flight and intensity, or maybe even a little bit of drama, I think this one hits the mark. It's got fun moments, it's got funny moments, it's got crazy moments, but the action is what really keeps you going, and just the insane things that Tom Cruise does. And don't worry, he does some running in this one. He definitely does run, and motorbikes, and flies, and does all the Tom Cruise things you would kind of expect. So if you're familiar with the rest of his action work, I think you're going to have a lot of fun with this. He's definitely went all out for this, and it seems like they perfectly hit the mark, and this is something, again, that you really have to experience on the big screen. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you will watch this on demand afterwards and at home and stream it and everything like that. But if you do get the opportunity and you do have the interest to watch this on a big screen, I think it definitely does benefit a lot from doing that. And I had a lot of fun seeing it. It was really good. It was very well done. My only point, it could have been a little bit shorter, but other than that, I think they absolutely nailed it. I would give this a 9 out of 10. You can read my written review in the description below, but other than that, liking the video is great, subscribing is great as well, and I'll see you out there in the danger zone.